Hey, what is up, everybody? This is your boy AJTRIP, and welcome to That's a Shoot, a weekly episodic show where I talk about the world going on in the world of professional wrestling. It's very different this week because this week we got a potpourri of things to talk about before we end up going into our extremely happy week of wrestling in just a few weeks. So let's stay back, let's relax, get you some popcorn as we talk about wrestling potpourri. Let's first start off with this past week's Fast Lane and my predictions. I went 5-2, which for on the year makes me 19-7. Amazing! I am once again having a great year predicting in WWE. As I started off real good last year as well, so this year doing amazing. And there will be more predictions. Next week's That Shoot will be predictions for NXT Takeover, Stand and Deliver, both night 1 and night 2. And then obviously the week after that will be the predictions for WrestleMania, night 1 and night 2. I will say this: I don't think one of the things I didn't do was, I didn't make an extra prediction. I wanted to do that this year, make an extra prediction, like the one loss from the 5-1 NXT Takeover Vengeance Day. The one loss was that I predicted that no one would debut, and LA Knight, aka Eli Drake, debuted. So that was my one loss. But I didn't do one for. I think I did one for Elimination. I did not do one for Fastlane, and that was my mistake. I should have done one. I'll try to make sure I do better over the NXT takeovers and the NXT and the WrestleMania predictions. So I'll make sure that I do better on that. But yeah, off to a good start, 19-7. Good start off for your boy. I did not count the Braun Strowman next there. It was Braun. I picked Braun Strowman to beat Shane McMahon, not Braun Strowman to beat Elias. What I should have did, what I should have had the extra question was that match even going to happen? And yeah. Well. You win some, you lose some. Another thing that happened on the Fast Lane Sunday was the release of Andrade. He asked for his release earlier last week, and he did not get it. I guess he asked for it again on Sunday, and and it was granted either Sunday night during the pay-per-view or Monday, because Sunday night he said he missed something that he talked about a lot of things and being happy and being stuff like that. So that was kind of interesting. So he has been released. Again, I think a lot of people talking about that it was a shame that he couldn't find anything what to do with him, but it is also a shame that Andrade didn't do the thing to make sure that he was he was given something to do. As old school thinking as it might be, it still is the same. It's like that for everybody, that you have to be able to get over verbally what you're trying to say. And if you don't have a manager, which you didn't have with Zelina Vega, they decided to go their separate ways anyway, and then by the time she gets released. So if he wasn't going to have a manager, he was going to have to get over for himself. And it's there's a lot of talk about him. He got better with his English, and he was trying to get better and things like that, but it just didn't work out. Yes, he's great in the ring, but being great in the ring isn't all. You have to have everything around it to be a superstar, to be a star in wrestling. Not just a superstar has an extra thing, but to be a star in wrestling, you have to be that. And Andrade just didn't have that. Maybe he'll come around and we would get that. Maybe he'll find a manager or someone like that, or maybe he'll just be he'll just be a wrestler. He'll just be a guy who's a good wrestler, great wrestler, but nothing more. He'll never be a star. He accused about going back to a gimmick that I guess he had before he was in WWE, with wearing a mask and everything. So we'll see where it ends up. If I was Andrade, I would not go to AEW. If I was Andrade, I would go anywhere else. NWA, Impact Wrestling, Major League Wrestling, Ring of Honor. I would go anywhere else because Charlotte probably will be in the WWE for a long time, another long time, and you would I think you would love to see them together in WWE. And so he doesn't want to burn that big bridge by going to AEW and then having and doing all of that. So yeah, and besides, he goes to AEW. He's not going to be used correctly. He's going to be in a video game feud with somebody who's going to sit on the sidelines for several weeks. So yeah, he needs to go somewhere else so that he can get back to the company that made him, and that's WWE. Speaking of Charlotte and Andrade, Charlotte Flair was unfortunately contracted COVID-19. She was not on the last 2 weeks of Monday Night Raw. On Monday, speaking of Andrade on Twitter, Charlotte during Monday Night Raw stated that she had COVID-19, and then Andrade said, "Another 4 days, mommy, and you'll be back." Because everybody was wondering, they took Charlotte off the posters for WrestleMania and everything like that, and off of the things, and he was wondering, what did this mean? Is there heat with Charlotte in the company because of what they're doing with her fiance Andrade? Something like that. There was even some talk that maybe Charlotte was announced for being a part of the new Walking Tall TV show that's on the USA Network. Maybe that was it. Maybe she was. Is this gonna be it? She's gonna stay off to film this. I don't know if it's a TV show or a docuseries or a movie or something. I'm not sure. Whatever. Is that what she's gonna do? So it seems that she has COVID, and that's okay. We hope that she gets better. We hope that there are no long-term effects from this thing like that, because there can be. So she's obviously not in the range yet where she could probably get the vaccine. Being a very healthy 34, 35-year-old woman. So there's probably not a lot that she has, to do with that. With that being said, that seems to have maybe changed the WrestleMania plans, and we'll talk about all the WrestleMania plans in just a second. But that seems to have just changed WrestleMania plans when it comes to Raw, and this seems to change on a weekly basis. It looks like just several months ago, it looks like what they wanted to do, they wanted to have Lacey Evans as the Raw Women's Champion with Ric Flair in her corner, going up against Charlotte Flair. Well, Lacey Evans gets pregnant. That storyline has to be dropped. And then Charlotte comes out on the air and says she wants to challenge Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania. And now we have Charlotte, and now this thing with Charlotte is happening. And then on Monday, Rhea Ripley makes her debut, and she challenges Asuka to a match for the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania. And Asuka accepts, and the match is made. And so now we're like, where's Charlotte in this? What does Charlotte, have to do with all of this? What does Charlotte in it? Because if Charlotte does have COVID, and COVID is the reason why she's missed the last couple of weeks. But then why would she be taking off the WrestleMania plan? WrestleMania posters. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. My guess would be is that Charlotte will be added. There's going to be a triple threat match, which is fun. Or and a lot of people won't like this, but when Charlotte comes back, she'll have a match with Asuka for the women's title. She'll beat Asuka just like she did for the SmackDown women's title. And before WrestleMania 35, and she went in as the champion in WrestleMania 35, and she'll do the same thing here. She'll beat Asuka, and then she'll go in to WrestleMania as the Raw Women's Champion to face Rhea Ripley. So who knows what's gonna happen with that? But yeah, once again, I think I want to reiterate that Charlotte to get better. We miss you, and we hope to see you this Monday on Raw. We hope that nothing else is going on. So let's talk about some Change Mania plans. Now, on March 11th, it was reported that the card had been solidified for WrestleMania. I took screenshots of it. Here's what they had. Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre for the WWE Champion. Roman Reigns versus Edge for the Universal Championship. Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Asuka versus Charlotte Flair for the Raw Women's Championship. Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler versus Lana and Naomi versus Natalya and Tamina for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. Big E versus Apollo Crews for the Intercontinental Championship. The Dirty Dogs versus the Street Profits for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. The Hurt Business versus the New Day for the Raw Tag Team Championship. Riddle versus Mustafa Ali for the United States Championship. Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon. Randy Orton versus The Fiend. Damian Priest and Bad Bunny versus The Miz and John Morrison, right? So those were the matches they had solidified for WrestleMania. Now, as we can already see, matches have already changed. We just talked about now is Rhea Ripley versus Asuka, right? We've got, instead of the Hurt Business versus New Day, we've got AJ Styles and Omos versus the New Day. Mustafa Ali just had a match with Matt Riddle on what's the name on this. I don't know. Actually, I don't think Mustafa Ali is going to get a rematch because they started doing something with Sheamus with Matt Riddle on Raw. We got Damian Priest versus the Bad Bunny. Now this still could change. They still could make this a tag match. But on Monday, this was announced as just a singles match, just Miz versus Bad Bunny. Just one-on-one. Braun Strowman, Shane McMahon, that looks to be happening. Fiend and Riot, that was announced. That is happening. It looks like the SmackDown Tag Championship could be it could be a four-way. The Dirty Dogs, the Street Profits, but they've also involved the Mysterios and the Alpha Academy in this series as well. So that could end up being a four-way. And let's not even talk about Daniel Bryan. With the Edge and Roman Reigns situation, this could end up being a true threat match. So it's incredible what is happening. How things could change, and their list on here, they didn't have the Seth Rollins and Cesaro stuff, and I would almost guarantee that's going to happen. Also, that's going to happen along with the men's and women's battle royals. So there are so many things that are happening. Plans are changing as a little bit. Now, also you can say that even though this is reported as being done, these reports are obviously, they come from sources. The WWE has been known to have people give people in the media false information on purpose. They have them do it on purpose. They have these guys give them tidbits of information that are true, right? And then it comes, and then that happens tidbits of information that are true, so so the people in the media will trust the source, and then the source gives them something big like here's the finalized Mania card, and then the shit doesn't come out to be the way it's supposed to be, right? So they they have known to do that with Meltzer. They do it with Meltzer all the time because they want to make Meltzer look wrong, and they do it with the guy from Sports Illustrated. I forget what his name, but they do it all the time to make him look bad. So it is incredible what happens here. And in a way, I think that some plans have changed. Again, like we'll see with this Oscar and Ripley and Flair thing. We'll see with that. But I honestly do think that the United States thing changed because there were reports where there were reports about him working through an injury and him having a big blue. So all this could happen at Mania, and it happened at Fastlane. So although Ali has come out and said that he is not going to have surgery, he doesn't need surgery. He's not going to have surgery on his leg. So, but yeah, and there are so many other things that is going on here. So, but yeah, you should only have to change your plans if you have to. I would say this: you should only have to change your plans. When Survivor Series happened, I think you should always look for long term. Look at what you want to happen next year. I always talk about this. WrestleMania 34. You immediately heard after that they wanted Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair as the main event at WrestleMania. And in my opinion, and in the opinion of a lot of people, that should have stayed the same. Now, there's also a lot of people that said that we should have changed it to make it just Becky Lynch, since Becky Lynch got hot. But Becky Lynch is not a star. I'm sorry, she didn't have to star the main female appeal as Flair and Ronda did. And they changed it to a triple threat match. So I think Vince should be looking at what do you want next year's main event to be. And I'll be honest, I think next year's main event should probably be something with Roman. It should something with Roman Reigns in it. You should be looking at something with Roman Reigns. You should be looking at something. I'm not sure if he wants to. I think he should, unify the titles at Survivor Series this year. So I'm not sure if you're looking at maybe a face turn for Bobby Lashley versus Roman Reigns. I'm not sure. You're looking at Big E and Roman Reigns. I'm not sure if you're looking at Keith Lee and Roman Reigns. All of these are good shouts. If you're looking at Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns, if Seth Rollins would turn babyface, what that could be. So many great shouts looking at for next year. But he should be looking at for next year. But I also think, as you look out that long as well, you definitely should have a thought on at least several matches after Survivor Series. So after Survivor Series, you can say, hey, so this is this. So here's how I want to win the Royal Rumble. Men, so I want to win the Women's Royal Rumble. Here's other matches that I want to have at WrestleMania. and so and here's what I want to happen with this. So and then you start building, and you build all your smaller ones as well. So but this is WWE. This is professional wrestling. All companies do it. Even though WWE seems to do it more, all the companies do it. Don't believe anything that tells you that AEW doesn't do it. No, AEW changed plans as well. They change plans. Not everything they book is long-term booking. We also had some Hall of Fame announcements. We've heard in the past weeks of Molly Holly and Eric Bischoff being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. They'll be enshrined Tuesday, April 6th. Tuesday, April 6th, I think. Tuesday, April 6th. Yeah, and then we found out yesterday of two more. Kane being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Kane goes in before Undertaker. That's weird, but we obviously know Undertaker's going in next year when he's in Texas, and he'll be the co-headliner because there probably will be him and Batista. Because Batista has pulled out. Batista says he's pulled out because he has other things to do. There's also it was also reported though that we asked Batista if it would be okay if they pulled him because they want Batista to go in when there are fans there and he can give the fans joy. Because this Hall of Fame ceremony is going to be virtual. It's going to be virtual. No fans. They're going to be doing it from Zoom and everything like that. So, or whatever else to Microsoft Teams or whatever. So yeah, they're going to do that. And then a surprising one, the Great Khali is going into the Hall of Fame. The Great Khali. I'm not sure about this one. I don't know if this is like for the Indian market or what it is, but I don't know if you get anything special for WWE, to make it in. It's things like this that make people sometimes say that the WWE Hall of Fame is a scam. It's a scam. It's a sham. It's a shamockery. Whatever you want. It's everything, right? It's a mockery. It's a sham. It's a shamockery. Because the Great Khali did not do anything important to, he was a, let's see, godly. I mean, it looked like everything he did hurt. It looked like everything he did hurt. And it was just, so he was, and really, can you really tell the story and the history of the WWE without mentioning Great Khali? Yeah, you're pretty much good. Pretty much good. Unless you do a list of the top 10 tallest wrestlers in the WWE, which at one point I wanted to do. I wanted to do a top 10 list of the top 10 big men in the history of wrestling. And he would have been on that list obviously because he was 7'1". But I don't know. Yeah, I think a lot of people said this, and I heard this on Jim Cornette's drive-thru that somebody thought that that Jim Cornette and the Midnight Express should be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, and I would agree with that. I would agree, especially this year. This year is a perfect year for a Jim Cornette induction into the Hall of Fame. Because Jim Cornette does not want to go anywhere. He does not want to. He does not want to go to Texas. He does not want to go to LA. He wants to stay at his home in Louisville. And this would have been a perfect time for him to be inducted, whether he was with the Midnight Express or not. If he's inducted by himself, it would have been a great year. Could have done it over Zoom. And especially with all the stuff going around him now with the quote-unquote controversy of what he said about Miro and Penelope and Step and everything like that, and everything he says about AEW, this should have been perfect. Because then there was no crowd to boo him. No people there to boo him. Because he is a controversial figure. There are people who, like me, who love him, who love his frankness, who don't agree with everything that he says, who doesn't think everything he says is right on, but I also know that he's an entertainer. He says most of this stuff for entertainment's sake. I don't think he means a lot of it. I think, yes, while he has some, he hates the likes of Joey Ryan and Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi and many of those who have made mockery of the world of professional wrestling. Vince Russo. I think most of the time when he's talking about other things, he is he is saying it for entertainment's sake. You know, in particular with this past one with Penelope Ford and calling her Penelope Pit Stop and saying that she was Pit's slutty girlfriend. Yeah, it's for entertainment. That's to make us laugh. He's not really calling her a slut or anything like that. And for Miro to jump on his ass and get mad, listen, dude, you got to wrestle a dude who put his hands in his pockets. Shut the fuck up, Miro. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. So, yeah. Well, so that's that. But yeah, this would have been the perfect time for Jim Cornette to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. And then, of course, they're going to induct the ones that they didn't induct last year, other than Batista, the NWO, JBL, the Bella Twins, a few others as well. I can't remember. So, but big time for the WWE Hall of Fame. I think that's going to be on the network in Peacock come Tuesday, April 6th. And that's going to be very interesting. So speaking of Peacock been in the news lately, going back to Fastlane. Apparently, when you watched on Fastlane, you couldn't pause, you couldn't fast forward, you couldn't rewind. So that was very interesting. Some things that you couldn't do. I don't know when. I don't know when I have to change over. I still watch it on the network. I don't know when I'll have to be able to change it to watch it on Peacock. But yeah, it is strange what is going on with Peacock. And there's been some news the last couple of days that that Peacock is censoring content from WWE, controversial content. They have taken out the skits in which Vince McMahon was talking to John Cena. John Cena 2005, the height of his rap gimmick, and he's trying to be hip and cool, and he's saying, "See you later, my nigga," and he walks on by, and then he walks past Booker and Sharmell, and Booker goes, "Did he say what?" And he hesitated. Did he say what I think he said? Because Booker T obviously has the incredible, maybe the greatest blooper of all time when he's talking to Hulk Hogan, and Hulk Hogan, "You're coming for you, nigga." And he's doing all that. So I tell you that out. They've also censored the Roddy Piper backstage promo and match he had with Bad News Brown. He was covered himself half in blackface, and that was 1980s. Jesus. So yeah. So I'm assuming that they're doing that. They're going to edit out the Nation skit from DX in the late 90s. The DX came out there. The Triple H with The Rock. Kid was Mark Henry. Road Dogg was D'Lo Brown. Billy Gunn was the Godfather, and that Jason Sensation, that dude, was Owen Hart. It's funny skit. It's one of the funniest skits they've ever done. But Mark, all of them are in some sort of blackface. Kids fully on in blackface. D-Lo's get a little bit of blackface. What's his face? Triple H and it's basically blackface, but it's almost like they put tan stuff on their face, but it's again, I'm not. Some things don't bother me like they bother a lot of people. Okay, so that's why, like, if you're wondering why I'm not upset, nothing don't bother me. It's satire, and I know the whole story of blackface, everything like that. But white people dressing up in blackface does not tick me off. It doesn't. I don't. I probably get more mad at the white people who are mad at the white people for for being blackface, because you are whatever. That's not something I need to go into here. But yeah, I'm sure that that and a lot more stuff is probably going to be censored on Peacock. There's a lot of stuff that you can't see. So yeah, that's that. All right, so I guess there's a little bit of breaking news. I guess Ronda Rousey is a black woman. I've been sitting here laughing. Obviously, you haven't seen it. This is obviously edited, but I've been sitting here laughing for about the last 20 minutes at all of the memes on Twitter. Apparently, Ronda Rousey has a great grandfather who was the first black doctor to have medicine or something like that in North America. So, and Twitter just can't. It's sometimes it's reasons why, as much as Twitter can be a hellhole and a shithole, sometimes it can be some of the great things of all time. Oh my goodness, it is just is amazing. So that's the breaking news for you here, if you haven't already known. But let's go ahead. And the last topic for Wrestling Potpourri is the AEW NXT ratings. And I want to talk about this just for a little bit because, a lot of people say, but AEW keeps beating NXT in the ratings. And yes, that is true. AEW, ever since they've gone head to head from October of 2019, AEW has won most of the matchups. Yes, AEW has won. Sometimes they'll have spikes, to 8,000, 900,000. And same thing with NXT. Sometimes they'll have spikes of into the 800,000s and 900,000s. Sometimes because of them going unexposed, whether it's because of basketball or something else. They'll go unopposed, and they'll get into the millions. For their show. But for the most part, both shows have been around. AEW has probably been around that 750,000 range. NXT has been around maybe 660,000, 680,000, something like that. I would take a guess. There is no growth in each show, and that's worrisome. That's worrisome because if you are like me, you love wrestling, and you want wrestling to be at the point to where it was a long time ago. I mean, at this point, we're not even looking at. We're not even talking about the Monday Night Wars. That was an incredible time when it was amazing. You had 10 million people watching wrestling, or more on a Monday night. And it was, and you just couldn't believe it. And I don't even talk about that. I just want to go back. There was some, I forget who said it, but someone mentioned that back when TNA was trying to go head to head against WWE, and they did it, and on that day, Bret Hart came back to Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw was doing 4 million people that time. Monday Night Raw was doing 4 million people around that time. And now Monday Night Raw can barely get 2 million. And I think it's a lot of things. Yes, I think some of it has to do with maybe the WWE going a little PG. Going PG. I think, yes. People maybe want the Braun Page matches, and they want the they want the blood and guts and everything like that. But we're not getting Braun Page matches in AEW. We're getting blood and guts. Hell, we had 2 women bleeding, including one, Britt Baker, who was bleeding profusely in a main event showcase, and that still didn't bring anything back to wrestling. And so what is it? Is it the fact that WWE tries to homogenize a lot of their wrestlers? They don't try to make their wrestlers don't try to make bigger stars. They say, hey, we got Roman Reigns, we got Drew McIntyre, we got Charlotte Flair. That's all we need. We don't. Everybody else can be different. Everybody else can be basically the same. Now, I think that's a misconception, but that is a perception that a lot of people do have, is that they try to make people the same and make it homogenized, make them wrestle the same, everything like that, look the same, talk the same, all of that. But then what's going on with AEW? Why come AEW hasn't latched on and grabbed some of those people? How come they're not growing? How come they're staying at a consistent 707 level? And I think that half of that audience is watching AEW just because they want someone to beat WWE. They want someone to beat WWE, thinking maybe WWE would change, or maybe something that Vince McMahon would look at and say, listen, your show is getting beat, change, do something different, right? But that's not what the case. The WWE isn't going to do anything different. They never will. Even when Vince McMahon has the untimely day that Vince McMahon passes away, the WWE probably would not change in any particular way. In any major way. They still will do their form of wrestling as they want to do, because that's the way they've done it. Maybe they might bring back the blood, and maybe they might, maybe they might allow leg slaps or something like that. But it's going to be the same. It's going to be the same. They're going, and I think that's what people don't understand. And I think that's what something this mainstream indie wrestling is not for mainstream audience. This is why SmackDown and Raw still get 1 million viewers a week, because the indie stuff that is on NXT and AEW doesn't fly with mainstream audiences. That indie wrestling is not going to stay, and this is why Ring of Honor had a hard time finding a place, on television. Impact as well, because they've tried to have indie wrestling become mainstream, and that's just not how it is. You got to make your wrestling mainstream. Can you make it edgy? Sure. Can you make it and PG really isn't the problem. The PG isn't the problem with it. It really isn't. It doesn't have to be attitude. It doesn't have to be the attitude era for it to be, for it wrestling to be good. You just have to do certain things, and and we talked about ways that WWE could be better, and the ways that AEW can be better. Joey Janela should not be on, should not be wrestling on AEW in any form or fashion. Neither should Sonny Kiss. Neither should Marco Stunt, and a few other folks that they have should not be wrestling at all on AEW. They should not be a part of AEW. Let them do their stuff on the independents, where they can, where they can, do what they want to do. But the wrestling crowd doesn't want that. There's even some talk about maybe it's women's wrestling what's bringing down, wrestling, because we're in an age where now women are taking a lot of time on wrestling shows. Do women not draw? Things like that. So there's a lot of people that seem to think that way. Is it the women that is what's bringing down wrestling? I don't know. Every answer that you come up with for the reason why The audience has declined for Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, and why AEW and NXT doesn't grow, I think for the most part is probably legitimate. Other than just saying AEW sucks and WWE sucks, because that's not the thing, right? That's not the case. Because I don't think either one really sucks. I don't think AEW sucks. I definitely don't think WWE sucks. But I definitely think there are things wrong with each company right now that they need to get better. And the things that are wrong with that company probably could be what is turning viewers off to each one. So, yeah, I think the fact that there has been no growth for either ratings company, for either company in the ratings on Wednesdays is sad. And we'll see what happens if the rumors are true and NXT goes to Tuesday nights. We'll see if each company gets bigger in their ratings, because they won't be going opposed to each other, and we'll see if that actually works out. All right, y'all, that's gonna be it for this week's That's a Shoot. Again, next week it'll be the predictions video for Stand and Deliver, and then the week after, episodes 99 and 100 of That's a Shoot. The 100th episode of That's a Shoot will be the predictions video for WrestleMania 37, Night 1 and Night 2. So, make sure you want to be here, hit the notification bell, because also, I will be going live after Stand and Deliver Night 1, Stand and Deliver Night 2, WrestleMania Night 1, and WrestleMania Night 2. I will be going live after all of those things. There may even be, there's a possibility there might even be a rapid reaction to the Monday Night Raw after Mania, because we all know big things happen on Monday Night Raw. Returns, debuts, anything maybe even big might happen. So that might happen. We will have to wait and see. I'm not saying that it will, because sometimes Mondays can be very tricky for me. So, but yeah, you're definitely going to get rapid reactions to TakeOver Night 1 and Night 2 and WrestleMania Night 1 and Night 2. You're going to want to be here for that. And any other video that I might do, that might breaking news video or any other thing. So make sure that you're here for that. Post your comments down below. Tell me what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think of any of the topics that I talked about in Wrestling Potpourri. Yeah, post it down in the comment section. Again, I advise you to, if it's still trending or if it's not, check out the stuff about Ronda Rousey on Twitter. It's absolutely hilarious. And yeah, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and as always, thank you guys so much for watching. It's your boy AJTRIP signing off. As always, be good to each other, y'all. Be careful out there, and I am out.